My money's gone, I'm all alone. Do 1, 2, 3, the world keeps turning. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. Peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. If your knowledge were your wealth, then it would be well earned. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they view us just the same. Oh, on and on and on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. All night till the break of dawn. On and on and on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. I was born underwater with $3 and 6 dimes. Yeah, you may laugh, 'cause you did not do your man. Do 1, 2, 3. Y'all feel that? Do 1, 2, 3. The world keeps turning. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. The man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. Does it seem colder in your summertime and hotter in your fall? If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Oh, on and on and on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. I could go on and on and on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. I'm feeling kinda hungry, 'cause my high is coming down. Don't feed me yours, 'cause your food does not endure. I think I need a cup of tea. The world keeps burning. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. You're rushing to destruction 'cause you don't have nothing left. The mothership can't save you, so your ass is gon' get left. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Oh, on and on and on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. You can't mess with me, so just leave me alone. On and on and on and on and on. All night till the break of dawn. On and on and on and on. God damn it, I'ma sing my song.
Music is crazy. Yeah, what a wonderful language.
It really is, yeah.
It's just, but well, it's just like with anyone or anything. Like, I mean, to be able to speak multiple languages, and
Yes.
to have that authenticity
Yeah.
in language. It's like it you know, like hearing somebody play bad jazz or bad, like any bad whatever. It's like hearing somebody speak with a bad pigeon accent. You're like, just stop it. Just stop. Please just stop. Just hold the kind. Bruh. We go cruise, bruh.
Oh, brother.
I mean, like, no, God, like,
Is
my heart is there, like.
What is it when
I know
people
you
have? Is it people like making it up, like they're trying to, or is it like
Well,
when
and
really
it
bad?
probably goes anywhere that you live, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be pigeon. But it's just like people's like.
They want to kind of
Emphasize.
They want to
like,
be,
oh,
and they want to be a part.
Right.
They want to be. They want to be a part. They want to try to fit in.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. That's fine. That's cool. That's great.
It's not in front of me.
I think it's funny that we're talking about it like this too, because I feel like the whole concept of authenticity has so much to do with like resonance. You know, like when people are authentic, you just resonate at like a very just authentic frequency.
Well, and that's part of it, though.
Yeah.
I think part of that is that it's not authentic.
Exactly, because there are some people that just have that thick ass accent, but because it's who they are, it resonates. But someone else who's like laying it on, same with the blues thing. Like if someone is trying to play their musical bit because it's almost like it's their identity and they're like flexing it or something. Yeah, you can, you know what I mean? It's jarring because it like
it's a put off.
Yeah,
it's like ew.
Yeah, it is.
We're talking about Tesla and the understanding vibration and how it.
Oh, you're so left field.
No, we were just talking about
car's
vibration,
driving
though.
somewhere, guys.
I was just saying, we
found a direction.
Earlier downstairs.
No, I know, but
But I like the analogy of like that the idea of languages, like that when you are sort of like well versed also in yourself, also like as a player. I'm not an instrumentalist like you guys in that way, but I think it's the same if you meet singers that know how they sing. Even if you have a voice that's in a certain genre, but you're really authentic in your voice, you can kind of sing anything because you know how you would sing that thing instead of feeling like you have to sing it the way like the genre would do it, you know?
Can you talk about your development vocally? Because I know like you weren't even really doing music until you were 18. Or somebody told you when you were young you had a nasal voice and then you just kind of clammed up. Yeah. But then you kind of discovered it. How did you work on it? How did you get this amazing voice you have now?
Thank you. It's so funny because I don't think of voices in terms of good or bad anymore, just because I hated my own voice for so long. So it's almost like I had to leave the spectrum of thinking a voice is good or bad and then just start to find all sounds like interesting, if that makes sense. So I just started to listen more to textures and tones, and also because I started singing again after not singing for many years, like you said. I started singing again only because I was trying to learn the guitar, and I had to like sing to be able to get, you know, when you're trying to first learn and you have to get to the next chord and you're like, and your hands aren't doing it. So you're like, and then
the timing.
The timing, like your voice helps you. So I was singing just to play the guitar. And then I started getting better at singing than playing the guitar, but not with the intention of getting better at singing. And I still could never stand to hear my own voice because I think like our mental projections are so strong of whatever like your judgment or your opinion is. You know, like when you see like a beautiful person and they're like, oh, no, they just don't believe that they are attractive, and you can't imagine what it's like for them to look in the mirror, but whatever they're seeing, like,
I don't
it's
know
not
if
what
that's happened.
We're seeing. You've never met someone who like doesn't like they're convinced that they're not.
They've been told since they were little.
No, there are a lot of people who actually, it's called dysmorphia. It's a very real condition. Right. It's a very real condition. But I think it's the same with like a lot of people have it with voices, with their voice. If you hear your voice on a voicemail or whatever it is, like some people cannot stand to hear the sound of your own voice.
A lot of people, I cannot.
Yeah. And there's like science behind it.
Is that what I sound like?
Yeah, because for some reason it's like the way that we hear ourselves when we're speaking is not the same as when we hear ourselves played back. So it almost jogs your identity in this weird way, like that's not what I sound like. So that's how I felt almost all the time when I was singing, and still sometimes how I don't always
There's
like
got to be a correlation with playing too, because the way that I think that you sound when you play it, and then you hear yourself play, you're like, I sound terrible. Oh my god. That's just artist vibe. You're just like, you know, you're in like the sauce of the flow, and you're like, that was so good, and then the recording is just dry and just like the driver's seat phenomena or whatever that is, right? There has to be a term for that, like the difference between the experience of driving
than
versus
being in the passenger seat.
So true. Seat. Like what is it? There's got to be a term for that, like the passenger seat experience or like the driver's seat. Like when you're the one driving, whatever, like, or your voice, and you're saying it sounds one way, and then you hear it recording.
It's also known as the driver-passenger phenomenon.
There you go.
Whatever. Sure, let's name it today. Great.
In my experience,
because we need to label that.
It's very real.
We can start
there
is
quantifying it for further study and use.
It's kind of like how like this podcast is going. I'm like, this is amazing. I get back to editing.
Exactly.
Like,
later,
I know. And you know what? There's going to be somebody in the comments that drops in and is like, in drama school, we talk about this.
It's just
So I'll tell you a little bit of what I know.
Personal perspective
I don't know the fancy label, but literally it's just called flow. So like flow is a psychology, right? There's a whole like psychology behind the state of flow. And flow, we always say like, oh, I was in the flow, but flow happens when like 6 different neurochemicals happen in our brain. And when those neurochemicals launch, we like have a completely different experience of self-awareness and time and all of these different concepts that usually make things feel much more rigid. And we have just like much more inner critic judgment going on. So that I think is the equivalent of like when you're in flow, you're in the driver's seat because you have that like rushing experience, the adrenaline, the excitement. Whereas someone standing outside of the car just watching you drive could be like, why is that person driving like a crazy person? Like they are not driving like the speed racer, the like champion that they think they are.
They don't know you really have to pee. Exactly. Or that they don't know.
Because they don't have like all the neurochemicals happening. And you can have group flow too. So that's what you mean when you think this podcast is good. And then later it's like, what is this? It's because like we have group flow sitting in the room. So like our brains are lighting up and in training together with excitement. But then afterwards, sometimes you can be like, that wasn't even that good. It just felt really good.
My experience is like things are never as good or as bad.
They feel.
Yeah, it's not like as great or as bad as whatever in the moment I'm feeling about it. It's like
you're thinking that it's worse than it is, or it's better than it is.
Yeah, I think that's probably factually true.
Kind of not either.
I wonder if that could be like a defense mechanism of some sorts in a way, right? It's like to
keep yourself like neutralized
for reality.
You mean?
Well, negative emotions come up, like say you're playing, and you do something that you didn't exactly think was great, and it brings up this I it up or whatever. It's like, well, it probably wasn't that bad.
I don't know. I think it's now pushing more towards mindset where you're like, just think everything sucks, and then when somebody tells you, wow, that was great, you're like, oh, okay, I guess it wasn't that bad.
But you finished a take
like,
2
no, that was good, man. I'm like, all right,
like your feeling after a take was like, oh, that was amazing. You go back and you listen, you're like, well, actually there was this and there was that, and so it's always kind of whatever.
I mean, I think what you're talking about, a lot of like Zen teachers would say is the way to approach life, because you're just living more from this like nothing is what we make of it just is what it is, and
there's something egoic either way.
I mean we're humans, we have to attach meaning. We attach meaning to things that then relates to like our identity and our place in the world. So like we're constantly contextualizing a thing happening and then what it means about who we are and the survival of this thing that we are. So that's why we make it be like, I'm the best or I'm the worst, because we're just always like, mitigating.
How do you get beyond that mind frame?
I think that even what you said, where it's just like having this sort of, state of awareness where exactly what you said, when I'm like in that more like, oh, I did that so, I did so well. I kind of just have this like inner voice that's loving. It's not to dampen me, but just to be like, yeah, just, what comes up must come down. So like the more that you make this about you did the best job ever, then like if something changes or the next day you had a hard day or whatever, like you might crash yourself out. So it's about like celebrating and enjoying the moment and then sort of like landing the plane like safely, I think most of us don't realize that we're just this like elaborate system of nerve endings and brain synapses, and so when you think like you're the best ever, your nervous system is just getting stimulated, and when you think you're the worst ever, it's almost similar. It's just that one state feels good and one state feels painful, but it's still an overstimulated nervous system. So I'm sort of like a fan of just whenever I feel myself being overstimulated, not to say like you can't feel joy or you can't feel sad about that thing, but to just do something that like grounds my nervous system, like breathing or going for a walk or something, just to, you know, land the plane of that emotion, because otherwise what comes up always does come down. Yeah.
Are you like a life coach?
I am a little bit. I actually used to be like, oh, no, I'm not. But now, I'm more of a business coach. But I find that when you are a business coach, you are a life coach. Because doing anything in the world where you have to, like, have a stake in the game also kind of becomes about mindset and, yeah, like your life as a whole as an analogy for your business.
Getting back to your voice, how did you develop that though? I mean, like, or is there like training stuff that you did? Or
I did. So I did and I didn't. At first, the only reason I started using my voice again was because I was in theater school and I had to take like a vocal class for theater, for stage. And so I started using my voice again, and then I just started singing really technique-lessly for years, just all at one volume, or, you know, like no nuance. I was just like sort of like screaming it out. And then I think eventually over a lot of time, I felt like I had the space to find nuance. But I think the most important thing I can say for anybody too who's like on a vocal journey, or if anybody listens that's an instrumentalist that sings in private or whatever it is, the biggest part of my vocal journey was more mindset and emotional stuff than like actual vocal techniques. Like you can do all the vocal exercises and, you know, learn how to technically open yourself up, but I think that being able to actually use your voice is something that pulls you to an edge of comfort. Like emotions kind of like have to rise up in you and you feel uncomfortable and vulnerable in order to have nuance in finding your own voice. That's the thing I think that takes time. It's just like being uncomfortable and being like loud and uncomfortable. Like, you know, usually when we're uncomfortable or vulnerable, we want to hide it away. But in order to explore it with your voice, you have to actually be like vulnerable out loud.
That's like, there's like a freedom to that though.
Yes,
and that's
hugely.
When people really attach to it, where you're not trying to do something, it's coming out of you.
Totally, yes. And that's now when I sing, even if like afterwards I listen to a take and I'm like, it doesn't really matter for me, because the experience of how it felt to sing that thing was so much more the purpose than me trying to like get it right.